Hello and welcome to the channel. Shocking revelations as it has emerged that Nigeria Armed Forces, the Army, the Navy, and even the Nigerian police are largely responsible for the oil theft in the country. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you. Revealed: Army, Navy, police among oil thieves own refining camps. In the past few months, the federal government, which had lived in denial of the actual reason for the razor-sharp increase in oil bunkering, popularly known as fire in the Niger Delta, had upped its game in the surveillance of oil pipelines with the engagement of private pipeline surveillance contractors. One contractor is Tantita Security Services Limited, TSSL, owned by the leader of the moribund movement for the emancipation of the Niger Delta, MEND, and High Chief of Ijaw ethnic nationality, government Ekpemupulo, alias Tompolo. Before now, the security report was that some militants and other misguided miscreants harbored by villagers in the different riverine communities in the oil-rich region were the monsters breaking into the nation's pipelines and hemorrhaging the country. The intelligence report acknowledged that there were major oil thieves bankrolling the operations of the minor oil thieves. It was unspecific in their nomenclature. Based on the disingenuous details, the government has pursued a one-track strategy of a crackdown on suspected operators of illegal oil refining camps in the creeks of the Niger Delta, destruction of the said camps, equipment, and apprehension of some operators. However, the real damage continued because the major culprits remained unruffled. The military offensives by the Joint Task Force JTF in the Niger Delta on the fire business have degenerated more to the harassment and inconveniency of riverine dwellers, and most of the time, people not involved in the criminal act turn victims of the onslaught. However, facts are emerging with the engagement of Tompolo by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited (NNPCL), while as oil bunkering increased rather than decreased in the last few months, which has made it impracticable for the nation to meet its Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries (OPEC) daily production quota. Army, Navy, Police, and Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSC, DSC) officers deployed to tackle oil bunkering in the Niger Delta sponsor their own illegal crude oil refining camps in the creeks. Only the Department of State Services (DSS) is not involved in the show of shame. Sources inform that security officials involved in oil bunkering finance locals to carry out unlawful business in the creeks, provide security, and shield their camps from destruction by other security agents. Some top security officials in Abuja and Lagos, who are neck-deep in the business, typically use their strategic positions to intervene and cover the tracks for their men on the ground in the Niger Delta. The international oil companies IOCs, some privileged NNPCL officials, and other high-profile Nigerians are part of it. The comprehension that the strategy all the while was a wild goose chase was already causing disquiet in the security circle. Lately, TSSL and security operatives working with Tompolo uncovered a 4-kilometer underwater theft pipeline connected to the sea from the Forcados terminal with a loading port and 58 tapping points in Delta and Bayelsa states through which oil thieves had been bleeding the country. On October 6th, they ambushed and apprehended 8 members of a suspected crude oil syndicate while they were pumping crude oil from a Chevron Nigeria Limited (CNL) pipeline in Delta State into an improvised 87-meter-long ocean-going vessel, MT Dino. At the time, Tantita operatives swooped on the vessel. The team leader, Captain Temple Manasseh from Bayelsa State, and 7 other suspects had pumped 605 cubic meters of crude oil into the vessel with 12 compartments from an illegal connection they attached to a CNL crude pipeline between Abiteye community and Escravos, Warri Southwest local government area. Security agents had previously picked up the vessel, which bore an International Maritime Organization IMO number 7210526 in September last year for oil bunkering, but as emblematic, they released it. Truth is that the high-profile stealing of Nigeria's crude oil and sale in the international market, where the demand is still very high, by the security agencies, IOCs, NNPCL officials, oil bunkers and locals is a structured big business. The illegal underwater 4-kilometer pipeline, loading ports, and 58 tapping points on the nation's different pipelines discovered by TSSL have existed for almost 9 years, and security officials stationed with gunboats in the creeks cannot claim ignorance. What explains the security agencies not discovering the illegal ports, tapping points, and all that Tompolo has discovered in a few weeks for 2 decades or more? A simple check showed that in between the places where oil bunkers siphon crude oil from the pipelines and abandoned oil wells, some of which the IOCs leave vulnerable, security operatives have their checkpoints at strategic locations near the pipelines but collect inducements to close their eyes. Commander, Nigerian Navy ship NNS Soro. Commander, Nigerian Navy ship NNS Soro, Commodore Daniel Atakba, who recently toured some creeks in Bayelsa State, accused IOCs of purposely leaving their oil heads wide open so that oil thieves could access the crude oil. National leader of South-South and elder statesman, Senator Edwin Clark, Tuesday fumed at the development, calling on the federal government to investigate the role of the Nigerian military and officials of NNPCL in the massive crude oil theft in the country. Saturday, Vanguard learned that Tompolo has a comprehensive list of oil bunkers in the region, and since its recent exposures, some persons have sent threat messages to him and TSSL operatives. However, some have reached out to him to simmer down. The ex-militant leader, miffed by the involvement of security operatives in bunkery, had reportedly complained to the National Security Advisor NSA and Inspector General of Police IGP and is awaiting action. Speaking in a television interview recently, the former MEND leader Tompolo, who confirmed that he actually complained to the NSA and IGP about the involvement of security personnel in oil bunkery, however said, not all security officials are involved. There are some good ones, and those are the people we are working with in recording the successes so far. With what we are doing, we have illegal bunkery camps owned by some Navy, Army, Civil Defense, and Police. It is only the Department of State Services, DSS, that are not involved, and we have the evidence. I am using this medium to appeal to the security agencies to call their people, especially those deployed in this part of the country. Let us work together. We are going to provide the intelligence. They are the ones that will implement. That's the news, guys. Stay safe out there. Bye.